Thank you, and good afternoon, everybody. So first of all, I would like to thank the organizer having invited me to represent here the GRC. And GRC, as you know, is the Directorate General of the European Commission with a very clear mission to develop science in support of policy. So we need to develop, together with possible stakeholders, public, private bodies, the evidence, the science that is necessary to make the future policy evidence-based. As our new president said very clear, we do need this kind of unbiased, transparent, and consented basis for any kind of future decision in different fields. And this is exactly what the GSC does. So I will focus my presentation just on the knowledge center on bioeconomy, because bioeconomy is one of the transversal cross-cutting issues which deserve to be supported by a knowledge center. What is a knowledge center? Knowledge center is what we consider we put at your disposal as a kind of entry point. The entry point means that, you see, we have to collect, gather, and make synthesis of all the data, all the analysis, all the results gained by different subjects. We need to make a sense, to filter, and then finally to produce the final report for the policymakers. So this kind of intelligent gathering, analysis, and filtering is done by the knowledge center. The knowledge centers are, again, issued on these few items or few topics that we think are the key priority for the next pluriannual program of the European Commission, and definitely bioeconomy is one of these key areas. So why? Because it's clear that the bioeconomy is very much cross-cutting. So it does include many different sectors like aqua, fishery, and agriculture, and soil, and water, and biodiversity. So it's clearly cross-cutting. It's because it does affect many policies. So from SDGs to the agriculture policy, to the biostrategy on the biodiversity, on the blue economy. So there are many policies that they should get the same data. So it's important that these interacting and linked policies, they will believe and they will be based in the future on the same data, on the same analysis, so that they will not conflict to each other starting from different positions and different data. And also because, as you see on the right-hand side of this slide, the production knowledge is continuously increasing, especially in bioeconomy, much faster than in other fields, but still is not organized, it's not framed. So in conclusion, we need something which makes an order, which makes a kind of sense, and which synthesizes to the key decision maker for our colleagues in different DGs, as I said, from DG Mare to DG RTD to DG Growth to DG Environment, how to develop better and better their own policy. So what I want to show you today is a few examples how this knowledge center and in general the activity of GRC was already instrumental and very much used in the definition of the bioeconomy strategy, how we want also to use in the future more and more in two main, let's say, missions that we do have. One, to increase the knowledge base, again, for any kind of future development. And the second, how to assess, to monitor the implementation of the bioeconomy strategy. Because definitely we need to define new indicators, new parameters, whereby we can say whether it's going in the right direction or we need to adopt some corrective measures. So some example of data that we have already provided during the ex-ante definition and planning of the new strategy, and now for the implementation. The very first is the biomass flow. So of course we need this Sinki diagram and the biomass flow for demand and production of biomass. So you see at the bottom you have more or less 1 billion of tons produced in Europe by different sectors. The most important, of course, is agriculture, but also forest. We do use 1.2 billion of tons of biomass, including the 0.2, which is recycled as waste from wood, from food. And this is exactly the circularity aspect that should be becoming more and more important to become bioeconomy as a circular bioeconomy in the future. So this is the classical flow, biomass flow that we have provided, that we will continue to update, giving you the right numbers in terms of production, in terms of use, in terms of circularity. Another example is for biorefineries. Again, here in collaboration with the bio-based industry, we have identified the location of different refineries. Here you see that we have the biorefinery for biofuel, for bio-based chemicals, for chemicals, and you have a picture how they're spread in the European territory. The same we have done for the pulp and paper mills. So we have extended the first analysis also to the pulp and biochemicals plants. So we have now a much more exhaustive picture where they're located. But what we want to do in the future is to start to use this plan overimposed to some other indication. For example, to couple the location of biorefineries for the future, especially on the availability of biomass. So to find the best ever possible position and typology of biorefinery to be put in certain areas. Because you see, for example, in the east part of Europe, the biorefineries are quite scarce. So these are the kind of analysis. And we have also started, as you see in the middle, a report to evaluate the economic turnover of all this effort. So to identify the economic indicators whenever you do take some example of products along the value chain, what is the value, what are the costs, what are the turnover, what are the job creation. So we start to have a kind of idea about the economic dimension of the bioeconomy, and in this case for the biorefineries. Another important example is how to minimize the waste from food, for example. You know that usually we consider the waste from food only from the consumption, so the last part of the chain. But we need in future to adopt this life cycle analysis concept. And we need to look at the waste produced along all the supply chains, so from the production to the processes, the retail, and finally the consumption. And here is the very first Sankey diagram, again, where you can identify homogeneous flow from different sectors, which can be then recycled, re-put in the economic value. And this is very important for the industry to understand to which extent I can recycle, reuse, and minimize, therefore, the waste. So this kind of analysis, which gets lesson from the experience we have developed in life cycle analysis and product environmental footprint methodology that we have developed in the GSE with the scientific community. And this is unbiased, transparent, future, modern way to calculate the environmental footprint. Another example now for plastic. We have now developed a new methodology, which has now been submitted to stakeholder consultation for calculating the environmental footprint, so along the life cycle analysis of plastic based on biomass or on traditional fossil fuel. And we have compared. So we will now, after having circulated stakeholder and received comments, we are going to use for 10 cases whereby we will calculate throughout the life cycle analysis the real environmental impact of plastics based on biomass compared to the fossil fuel. So this will be a very first thorough, unbiased, independent, and very scientifically based method to analyze what are the environmental impact of bio-based product, in this case, the bio-based plastic. And this is something which is still in progress. And just to conclude, these were just a few examples, because 10 minutes I cannot give you more, but just example how we can develop new methodology to understand the environmental footprint or the minimization waste or the mass production of mass flow. This is instead how we can also look forward. So if you do use our own general equilibrium model magnet, we can start to develop some possible future scenarios, how the turnover, how the bioeconomy will evolve. And if you do consider this, it's very simple. If you do look at now in 2050, you can see that overall the turnover of bioeconomy is supposed to increase, which is a very good news. And you see that in particular, if you do consider the traditional primary sector like agriculture, food industry, or also the forestry, they remain almost constant. Now, the most important increase is in what we call bio-based industry, so the pharmaceuticals, so the bio-based chemicals, pharmaceutical, and plastics. And you see the orange sector is the one which increased more than the others, especially if you do consider not just the business usual scenarios, but the most ambitious scenarios with taking into account the agreement of Paris with maximum 2 degrees or even 1.5 increase in temperature for the 2050. So in this case, bioeconomy and bio-based industry will enhance very much, or let's say significantly, the value and therefore the turnover. So I conclude by simply saying, again, this is just a few examples. How we can now continue the work by, again, collecting information, providing data, organizing events, delivering via the community of practice. All the scientists that are already involved, there are more than 600 scientists involved in delivering this kind of basis for any decision, not just a commission, can be to national level, regional level, stakeholders. So this is very important that we all together develop the kind of necessary basis for any future decision, which is not based on schizophrenic decision or a completely unsustainable solution. And this is exactly what we are doing today. I want to simply say that we will continue. We need a lot of collaboration. We are already collaborating very much with the experts and scientists of the JU, and because we have organized some events, we have invited them to the Knowledge Center events. We are participating to the events. Again, today is another demonstration. We have already developed, as I said, the map of biorefinery position, but also on the bioeconomy strategy mapping in Europe. And we will also define more and more. We want to work together to this life cycle analysis and environmental footprint methodologies that have been developed by the JSC, mainly in support to DG GROW, but now can be extended to any kind of application, because this is a very sensitive and important issue for the future. Thank you very much.